Bastiodon is a Pokemon that's never really seen in competitive play, but sometimes the shield face needs a little love, and that's what I'm here for. It's got massive physical and special defense, but it's lacking in just about everything else. Luckily though, defense can be the best offense, and it's got some fun tricks up its sleeve, for shield. I like to think of this guy as an all-around utility mon with the ability to have some fun and surprise some people while poking some holes in the team. It's definitely useful as a reliable stealth rock setter, and then since Brother's made out of pure bulkiness, aside from its rock steel typing not really doing it a whole lot of favors, it can almost always live a hit, especially when you factor in its sturdy ability. When we're expecting to be hit with some big old damage, we can go for a Metal Burst. This deals back 1.5 times damage on the attack we just took, and oftentimes it's enough to delete opposing setup sweepers. You thought you didn't need to be afraid of the mon with no attacking power, and now you're gone. Now since we're at low HP, people think they're safe to just come in and pick us off. But then we pop a Cussed Out Berry, which allows us to move first in our priority bracket when at a quarter HP or less, and we can use this to get off a surprise body press to use our defense stat as attack and usually get some big damage. The final slot is kind of dealer's choice. I like to throw on Earthquake just in case it's needed. But Bastiodon is definitely not great by any means, but this set can be really fun, and today it's time to see if we can burst some metal at some people. I've always loved Bastiodon because he's the kind of guy that says, call an ambulance, but definitely not for him. While this thing's not going to be getting crazy sweeps or anything like that, it most of the time is going to surprise some people, plus Cussed Out Berry is just the most fun thing to use. And so today we're showing some love to the big shield face boy, and if that sounds like a fun time to you, consider hitting that subscribe button. I try to show love to weird mons over here, and we have a good time doing it. So with that, let's just jump into the match. Alright, so as expected from the team preview, we see the Dolphin. That means they're gonna lead Palafin most of the time, and that's because this thing needs to switch out and come back in as a superhero. So I lead off with the Milotic just expecting this, and I have a couple different options. Either I can go for a flip turn, as they probably flip turn, but I'm just gonna throw a Scald, you know, nothing like just rolling for a little Scald burn from the start. Nothing really wants to take a burn, and I get to see what they want to deal with this thing with. So it turns out though, they end up switching into Ditto. Now this thing obviously turns into me, and that's fine. I figure I'm not really afraid of this thing offensively. As I go for a Scald, I burn myself, and the old Uno reverse. That's just gonna activate the Flame Orb, which is fine. I get that because now I have my Marvel Scale boost. I'm gonna be about defensive as hell, and as I consider going for a Dragon Tail, I'm just gonna flip turn just to kind of scout. Now again, Milotic, the only bad thing about them turning into me is now they have the information of what exactly I want to do, but I'm not afraid of it. Now as I see that I move first from the flip turn, that can only mean one thing. Most of the time, Ditto's going to be Choice Scarf, so it's always going to be the faster version of you. But since I went first, that tells me they definitely clicked Dragon Tail, and that allows me a free switch into Deoxys. So, obviously not affected by the Dragon Tail. This gives me a free turn to set up a little Rock Polish. And we're going to go ahead and get Glimmering out here, nice and shiny. I go ahead and polish up. That's going to make me faster than everything they've got. Now, as they end up just hard switching right back into the Palafin, Buddy comes in superhero form, and this thing's a little bit threatening. Now, as I Rock Polish, I'm sitting here looking at this matchup thinking I could go back into Milotic if I'm worried about them just going right for an attack, but I decide to fire off a Moonblast, and that's because I'm thinking for some reason I really feel like this thing is going to bulk up, and it doesn't. It instead just goes right for the Wave Crash. I rolled the dice there thinking there might be some setup behind this thing, and the combination of a Moonblast and then a Meteor Beam would knock it out. But nope, it in fact just goes right for a Wave Crash, and that is going to delete me. So, you know, down goes the Diancie before I get to get anything going, but that's fine. I can now decide to switch into whatever I want. And versus the Palafin, I'm thinking, you know, it might, at this point, I haven't seen item. I figure it's probably Choice Band, and they might not want to stay in and click a Wave Crash against a resisted hit, so I can maybe get up a free substitute. Nope, they just go for the Wave Crash because Palafin does not care about resistances, and that does way too much damage. As I substitute, I'm now hanging on with an inch of my life, and I've gotten a little greedy with the Cyclozar here. I really thought I could bait a switch. Nope, it just stays in and just goes for damage. That's what Palafin does best. Now, it turns out they end up outspeeding there with the Wave Crash. It's actually Choice Scarf. And that is unfortunate for our Bicycle Lizard over here. So, as the sub fades, that's fine. I do get up a Shift Gear, which is great. This thing's over here just recoiling itself. It's not going to be able to, you know, poke too many holes in the squad at this point. As I get the Shift Gear up, now with my speed doubled, we're in maximum overdrive. I will be able to outspeed since it is choiced. We know it's not going to have the Jet Punch priority, and I can finish it off with a Dragon Claw. Now, well, that's pretty solid. Sadly, I am Life Orb, so I basically waste a couple of mons to try to get rid of the Palafin, and it is what it is. We have a little bit of an empty battlefield situation as Bikel goes down. Now I get to see what I want to switch into here. Now I decide it feels like it's time. I'm gonna bring in the wall, baby. They don't have any hazard set up, so I want to try to get this thing in and know that I just have that sturdy in the back pocket to cause a little bit of a ruckus. So they end up switching into the Dragonite. Now Dragonite with a Dragon Dance setup just absolutely will mow through my team at this point, and so I need to find a way to stop the thing immediately. Now they do go for the Dragon Dance because every Dragonite will just click Dragon Dance and then just be very scary with obviously extreme speed priority and all that, but I'm not afraid, dude. I'm a shield face. I can just go for a Stealth Rock here, just knowing that they click Dragon Dance there. And while they can just Dragon Dance again, I do click the Metal Burst. That's just because +1 Earthquake with that 4x super effective hit will knock me down to sturdy, but they just go for another Dragon Dance here because honestly they don't really have much reason not to. With a couple Dragon Dances, extreme speed will be at a point where it's just going to be really bad for me. And as they see me click the Metal Burst, we've now gotten into a little bit of a stalemate situation where it's like, yeah, you can continue to dance all you want, but the second you go for that damage, guess what, buddy? You will be dead. Metal Burst obviously fails once again, but guess what? I got 14 more of these bad boys locked and loaded. So now they do finally go for the Earthquake, and that is certainly going to hurt. I do live it with the sturdy because the wall does not go down that easy, and now the Metal Burst comes through. And that Dragonite, it does a little disappearing act. Now you see him, now you don't. That's a dead-ass Dragonite, and that is amazing because, yeah, I would have surely just gotten swept by that Dragonite easily. So while they are now able to switch into whatever they want, they figure, you know what, these Stealth Rocks out here are annoying. They go into the Mousehold, who probably thinks they might be able to get a little tidy-up action going on, but what they don't know is that I've got the surprise Custat Berry, baby. Maybe they were just trying to pick me off. Maybe they tried to tidy up. Regardless, we're not going to be able to see because now I can go first, pop him with a little body press, and that is extremely satisfying in being able to just take care of 2 easy mons there. So down goes the Mousehold. We take care of the Dragonite as well, and now they're like, dude, I gotta see what the hell this Bastiodon's working with. They decide to go into the Ditto to turn into me, and they're like, damn, this moveset is fire, and I gotta agree. So sadly though, as I used up my Custat Berry, they are gonna be faster. They can finish me off with a body press, but Bastiodon getting up Stealth Rock and taking care of 2 mons is pretty solid value, and we will take that every damn time. The surprise body press kill is always so fun. So now that they are me, I figure, what can I do to try to get a little late game sweep going here? I got some options left, and while I know I'm dealing with my own Bastiodon here, I feel kind of safe. I decided to go into the Superior. Now this is relatively risky. As I go for a Swords Dance here, I figure a body press does a little less than half, and if I can get a Swords Dance and also potentially a Scale Shot here, I'll be fast enough to hopefully pick off the rest of their squad. Now I go for the Bullet Seed here. This is loaded dice. Obviously the non-contrary Superior is always fun. Check out the video on this thing if you haven't already. It's on the channel, but I go for the Bullet Seed here. Their body press does just a lot of more damage than I was hoping for. And sadly, with the 5 hits, I'm not quite able to take care of the Basti, but the plan is still working out because check it out. They go for the body press. I'm able to just barely hang on. And now I'm thinking surely 5 hits with a Scale Shot with a Swords Dance should be enough to knock this thing out and get that speed boost to be able to outspeed the Flutter Mane in the back. But as I'm looking at it here, I have both overestimated my own Superior and underestimated my own Bastiodon because it's able to live. If I got 5 hits there, that would have been hopefully enough to knock it out, and then Superior just cleans up the game. I have failed to to beat my own Bastiodon, and not only has my Bastiodon put in work, but now my own Bastiodon's put in work against me, and I probably messed that one up a bit, but it was worth a shot to try to get the Superior to clean up the game. Now I've got some work to do because as they've got the 3 mons left, counting the Bastiodon, I can go into the Kamala here. I can finish this thing off with a Sucker Punch. And that thing was a menace. I have failed to set my own stuff up today, but hopefully we can claw back in this match. Now it's gonna get close because, first of all, as they go into the Meowscarada here, I know that one great part about this is it can't knock me out in 1 hit, hopefully. Now they go for the Flower Trick. It's gonna be a guaranteed crit every time. Goes ahead, turns into a Grass type. Buddy was already grass as hell, but I'm able to live because Kamala with his little log is not going down that easy. Now the great part is I can fire off a Body Slam for the chance to paralyze. I don't get the para, but the great part about them losing their Dark typing is that now a Sucker Punch is neutral, and surprise punch him with the log. That is going to take care of the Meowscarada, which is quite satisfying. And now their final mon is going to be freaking Flutter Mane, which is always about the scariest thing to see left. And while it takes a little bit of Stealth Rock chip, the great part is I know I can get off a Sucker Punch here, and that's going to do some great chip. While it won't knock it out, the only mana I have left in the back is going to be the Milotic. So it can get bopped in the face via log, and then it allows him to fire off the Moonblast. Is going to take care of the Kamala, and now we've gotten ourselves in a 1v1 situation where luckily I do have Milotic with all that built-in special defense, should be able to take an attack from the thing and then fire off a Scald to finish it off. So I decided to just go for the Terra Water just to boost up my Scald that much further, just in case I need it. And it really just all that matters is we can take one attack from the thing. It might potentially have some coverage in something like Energy Ball or Thunderbolt, which makes me wish I had a better defensive Terra, but it turns out they do just click the Moonblast here. Could be Specs even. I am able to live, luckily, and now as I fire off a Scald with that boost in the Terra, Hot Water, able to finish him off. So sometimes you just gotta boil up the Flutter Mane, and that is gonna lock down the dub. So that was a really close game there, and honestly, a pretty interesting one overall. So I think that was Choice Specs damage, so even if they had the coverage, they couldn't go for it. But in a game where I clearly made some definite misplays and miscalculations, there is a really close one and still a fun match. So that's now going to bring us into game number 2. And look, if you've stuck around this far into the video, first of all, you are my favorite. And second of all, you'll be my extra favorite if you click that like button for me. It really does help out the channel. You probably forgot to click the button. But if you had already, I guess that'd be nice of you. Anyway, let's just jump into this next game against a pretty scary looking mono water team, which is cool. All right, so this time my opponent is going to lead off with a Greninja. So classic matchup of the ages. We got Frog versus, I guess I'm a Moth. What the hell? Masquerain is a... What the hell is Masquerain? Regardless, I am a Moth who is here to set up Sticky Web, and it turns out turn 1 they're just going to go right for the boosted Ice Beam. That's definitely going to knock me down to my stash, but that's why we got that baby built in. And I can guarantee that I at least get that Sticky Web up. So the web isn't extremely important in this matchup, but it would be nice to keep up. So as I get that going, now Masquerain is kind of in danger. Problem is I don't really have much that wants to hard switch into Greninja. I don't have things that are super expendable on taking chip damage like that. So I decide, screw it, I'm just going to leave this thing in and see what they want to do. They do just stay in and pick me off. That is fine. Masquerain doesn't generally have a whole lot of value, but I at least get up my webs. And now I've got the ability to at least revenge switch into whatever I want. So I got a little bit of a plan here. Now I decided to go into the Hoopa. Now this big crazy ring wielding bastard is at least bulky enough to take an attack if Greninja wants to stay in, but I figure they probably want to switch out here. Now, weighing my options, I decide I should probably go for the Hyperspace Fury. Turns out I did not. I ended up clicking Drain Punch. I meant to Hyperspace Fury. I Drain Punch here, as it turns out to kind of bite me in the ass, because as they go Tentacruel, first of all, this thing gets caught up in the Sticky Web, so it's gonna be slower. But as I Drain Punch, not only does it not do any damage, I also get Liquid Oozed, which has got to be one of the worst feelings as a Mon, to just be expecting to heal and then just suck up some poison ooze that instead hurts you. So problem is, it's not in range for a Hyperspace Fury to take care of this thing, and I've kind of blown it in that as I go for the Psychic Noise just to guarantee that the Hyperspace on the next turn will kill, it does open the door for this thing to now Rapid Spin. Not having a spin blocker and a ghost type on the team, they're just freely able to get rid of the web. So that is unfortunate, and now I can at least go for the Hyperspace. It is going to be able to definitely take care of the Tentacruel, so they pay the ultimate price in being able to get rid of the webs. But we go ahead and punch him with 1,000 arms. That is going to knock it out. Now with that defense drop, of course, does come my eject pack, so I'm able to then switch out, and now I get to go into whatever I want. So looking at it here, as my plan was initially to Hyperspace and then be able to switch into Electrode and then pick that thing off, it didn't end up working out. Now I'm webless out here, just working webless. But what I do have is a crazy shield face. Now I go into Bastiodon because it kind of puts the ball in their court. I'm like, what are you gonna do versus the Dawn? Something's probably gonna die, and I'm hoping I can make it happen. So they decide to go into the Pelipper here. It's gonna set up the rain, boosting up their water types further. But as they end up going for the Hydro Pump turn 1, it actually works out real nice because it misses, which is fantastic. Now I get up Stealth Rock for free. And at this point, I'm like, dude, surely they want to just go ahead and Hydro Pump again, knock me down. So I can freely click a Metal Burst. They do connect on this one, and we end up living with 11. Didn't even need the Sturdy, but that is going to be enough damage, obviously, to allow the Metal Burst to knock it out. So that is a nice little kill from the Basti there. This is the type of Mon that you're always just going to get some type of value out of it. And it's satisfying because As now I'm still in Custat Berry range even without Sturdy activation, they decide to bring in Greninja to just pick me off. But what they don't know is Buddy is about to get turned into a flat-ass pancake because I can bust out the priority Custat Berry. Allows me to hit him with a super effective body press, and that big defense on the old frail frog is going to be enough to take care of it. So Greninja out of the way, huge speedy threat gone. That is all you can hope for, generally. Getting up Stealth Rock, having a kill with Metal Burst, and a priority kill with the Custat Berry. The Bastiodon has put in the work. So sadly, now they're able to go into Basculegion, who is probably going to be Swift Swim. And I'm honestly pretty afraid of the fish at this point. I also don't really have much that wants to hard switch into it. And since Bastiodon is basically used up at this point, it's best used to just kind of be a death fodder here. So as I stay in, turns out they're going to click the Ghost Terra. Don't exactly know why. I don't know if they think I have another Custat Berry, but they just picked me off with an Aqua Jet. And now the fish at least is Ghost type, and now there's no surprise Terras in the back, so that's at least good to know. And look, Swift Swim Basculegion is a massive threat. While I can't quite go Electrode here just because of the fact that it's going to be faster with the Swift Swim, at least what we know is they can't reset the rain. Pelipper is out of the way. So what I decided to do is go into the Whiscash here. Feels like the only dude that can maybe take an attack from the thing, and I can get some chip with an Earthquake. The reason why I cannot go for a Dragon Dance to set up here is because this unaware bastard. They're able to go into the Quagsire, who's more often than not just going to be unaware, and I can't really set up in front of it. So as I go for an Earthquake, I'm at least able to get some chip. Not going to do much to the Quag, but anything helps, especially considering I don't have any grass coverage. So here's the thing. At this point in the match, I must have accidentally clicked the spacebar, which stopped recording. But I'll break it down for you. There's a few moments we missed here. Now, I hard switch into the Hoopa, who took a Toxic. On the next turn, I went for Psychic Noise to block this thing from going for a Recover. It tried to recover. It failed. At this point, it was at enough damage to be able to just pick it off with another Psychic Noise, and that is all we missed. I looked down and I was like, holy shit, I stopped recording somehow. But it was only a few turns we missed. Hoopa came in, and Psychic Noise did block a Recover, which was honestly extremely satisfying, but annoying that I didn't get it on the freaking recording. But I'm sorry, I've been fucking up today. It's my bad. I'm locking in at this point, and Hoopa's out here, at least alive but poisoned, and now they decide to bring in the Milotic. So never really know exactly what Milotic is going to do. Is it going to be some type of crazy coil set? Is it going to be Marvel Scale with a Flame Orb? I'm just going to end up clicking a Psychic Noise here, because what that does is at least gives me the insurance that it cannot go for Recover. And as I get a little bit of chip, it knocks it down to about half, which feels pretty good, and that's going to stick around for a bit. So at least the ability for it to not go for Recovers. They click the Scald, does get a critical hit, which is kind of annoying, because now after some leftover recovery, I do end up going down to my poison, which is a little bit of a problem. But at least now, what I do have is, and I've been kind of saving, is my fast-ass Electrode, who, hopefully can do some damage here against the all-water squad. So it is going to be Flame Orb Milotic. Does reveal the Flame Orb there, so we kind of know at least what it's working with. And at this point, I'm feeling like it's likely in range for a Specs Thunderbolt to be able to take care of it. So I'm going to go ahead and fire it off. They don't have any surprise Terra. I can go ahead and bolt his ass, and that is going to take care of the Milotic. So the ball is rolling, no pun intended, and we're able to take care of big defensive threat. So the problem that we've been able to see is Basculegion is the problem, moral of the story. But what we do have going for us is that this is their final mod. So here's the thing, I can outspeed still, even if it's Choice Scarf, Electrode still outspeeds. A Specs Thunderbolt isn't quite enough to do it, and then I thought as they go for an attack here, a Last Respects does finish me off, and I'm like, that's fine, Aftermath should be able to pick it off, but it turns out Last Respects does not make contact, so that does not activate the Aftermath, and now I'm in a whole lot of trouble. First of all, Last Respects is the most broken move in the game, and it is banned, but this buddy's working with it anyway, and with maximum power, all of his teammates dead, with a Terra Ghost, Last Respects is gonna be able to knock out literally basically everything in the game, even through resistance. So sadly, as I go into Whiscash, that thing gets deleted. Now, as I do have a Hypno, who is obviously just immediately in danger, but I've got the Terra, I have the Terra Fairy, which can allow me to resist it. The bad thing is, again, yeah, Last Respects is just, it will just kill everything. So as I go for the Terra here as it's the last ditch effort, that is not, we're looking adorable with the heart on our heads and pink. We're looking double pink out here, but is it enough to be able to live a Terra boosted Last Respects at 300 base power before stab? No, it is certainly not. And that is going to be able to delete the Hypno. So that's going to be the end of the game. And I thought it was going to be extremely clutch to be able to get that Aftermath there, but Last Respects does not touch us. So, that is a fish that really turned things around. And You know, that's why Last Respects is not generally playable, but hey, it is what it is. It's still a fun game regardless. And we're just out here messing around, having a good time anyway. So look, thank you guys very much for watching. I do appreciate all the support, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace out.